this episode, we will take a look at the slap heard around the world. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at this.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Take my name out your f***ing mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your f***ing mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
Now, before you get too concerned about Chris Rock's pride being hurt, or his well-being, or, for that matter, the state of Will Smith's mental health, let me assure you that this was all just another orchestrated, satanic ritual event that was staged to occur in the manner that it did for its symbolism. Don't believe it? I can prove it. It should be noted that Chris and Will have known each other for more than 20 years. Chris Rock even appeared on an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in 1995.
Now which one of you handsome men is Big Willie?
Also, Chris and Jada have done 3 Madagascar movies together. So, Chris, Will, and Jada are all friends. In fact, this is not the first time Chris Rock has made comments about Will and Jada at the Oscars. Back in 2016, he made jokes about both Will and Jada.
Well, Spike got mad, and Jonathan got mad, and Jada went mad, and Will went mad. Everybody went mad. You know, it's quite like Jada got mad. Jada says she's not coming, protesting. I'm like, Jada's gonna boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
Jada put out a video on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday stating that she would boycott the Oscars.
Hi, today is Martin Luther King's birthday. And I can't help but ask the question, is it time that people of color recognize how much power, influence that we have amassed, that we no longer need to ask to be invited anyway?
The mention of MLK is a reference to the horned god Molech, to whom apostate Jews offered human sacrifice to. This horned bull god is a reference to the Chicago Bull and points to Barack Obama. Notice the horn that appears to be sticking out of Jada's head. Also, the fact that she mentioned MLK connects the Oscars from 2016 to the slap at this year's Oscars, since the daughter of MLK Jr. spoke out about the incident in a tweet. Notice her Twitter tag is Be a King, and also there were 601 replies to this tweet. Strong's Concordance lists G601 as apocalypto, which means to uncover and lay open what has been veiled or covered up, to reveal, disclose, make known, or make manifest what before was unknown. The fact that the daughter of MLK, the horned god, used her Twitter and the tag Be a King to address this issue was meant as a way of revealing the sixth king, the rider on the white horse, who receives a crown, the Antichrist and king of the bottomless pit to the world. The time and date of her tweet both conceals and reveals the identity of the Antichrist. 10-10-3-28-2022 is 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, which equals 21, or 777, which represents the Hebrew phrase Barack Obama, which was used by the Messiah himself to describe Satan falling like lightning from heaven, as found in Luke 10:18. With the history that these three have, it's clear that this was a staged event. As always, the use of numerology in these events is an immediate giveaway that points to it being staged. This was the 94th Academy Awards ceremony, which was held at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles on March 27, 2022. 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 18, which is 666, the number of the beast. This was the 94th Academy Awards, and 9 plus 4 is 13, the number of rebellion. Only films released between March 1st and December 31st, 2021 were eligible to compete in the 94th Academy Awards. March 1st is 3-1, which, when reversed, is 13, and the 31st of December also gives us the number 13. From March 1st to December 31st is 306 days. 306 is 3 sixes, or 666, the number of the beast. Also, notice the pyramids on stage as well. Make a note of that, because we'll come back to it later. The name Dolby Theater in Los Angeles hides a secret as well. As tourists visit the place where the Oscars is filmed, they are confronted by a 4-story Babylonian gate rising in the distance, which has an image of the false god Marduk on it. Marduk was the patron god of Babylon, the Babylonian king of the gods, and is the equivalent of the Greek god Zeus, who hurls lightning bolts from heaven. The name Dolby comes from the word Abi, which comes from Albericus and means king of supernatural spirits. The city of Los Angeles is a reference to the lost or fallen angels. The word spirit literally means breath, to breathe or blow air. We know that the devil is called the prince of the powers of the air, which can be found in Ephesians 2:2, which declares, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. This connects back to Will Smith, who was the star of the TV show The Prince of Bel-Air, a reference to the devil, the prince of the power of the air.
Turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air.
If you've been following my work, then you know that on February 13th, the 44th day of the year, in the same day that Super Bowl LVI was held, the reboot to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was also launched. I told you then that this was meant to connect the title, The Prince of Bel-Air, which is the name for Satan, with number 44, Obama. Not only that, but since we are speaking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it is important that I remind you about the time when both Will and Jada interviewed Barack Obama in Norway after he received his Nobel Peace Prize.
This is fantastic. We're really excited. This is the first time I've been nervous in front of a camera in a long time. Just think back to Prince of Bel-Air, man.
This was meant to identify Obama as the one who will be indwelled by Satan, the prince of the power of the air, since he is the false man of peace, the son of perdition, the Antichrist.
Yet I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the considerable controversy that your generous decision has generated. In part, this is because I am at the beginning, not the end of my labors on the world stage.
In the previous video, we connected Obama's speech in Norway with the doorway or portal that was opened in the heavens the day before his speech, revealing a different plane of existence. This connects to the 4-story Babylonian gate, doorway, or portal with the image of Marduk, the false god with wings, which is found at the Dolby Theater, where the Oscars were held. Now, I want you to take a look at Will Smith's initial reaction to Chris Rock's comments about his wife's bald head.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see you. All right?
Notice, he laughs at the joke. But then, seconds later, he walks up on stage to confront Chris Rock. Notice, Chris Rock, who has a big smile on his face, leans his head forward towards Will in order to give him a clean shot of his cheek. This was clearly an orchestrated slap, like the fight between Donald Trump and Vince McMahon in the WWE. But what was the purpose for all this theater? As I said earlier, this was done for the symbolism. Now let's get into that. The key to understanding this symbolism can be found in the names of the actors. What is a Will Smith? A Will Smith is a person who, through the sheer force of their own will, can create whatever they want out of thin air, like a magician or witch. Will Smith even told you as much when he described himself in an interview with Tavis Smiley.
You know, I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent magic, right? That you're in a universe and 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 only equals 4 if you accept that 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 is going to be what I want it to be. You know, and there's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening. Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. It's like, it's water. It wants to move and go around stuff, you know. So for me, I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent the idea that you really can make what you want. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist.
This is a reference to witchcraft. We know this to be so, as we have seen this same sentiment be professed by the so-called GOAT, Tom Brady's wife, who is a practicing witch in her commercial, I Will What I Want. Again, Will Smith is also the Prince of Bel-Air, which points to the Prince of the power of the air, Satan, the King of the bottomless pit. Will also won the award for his role as Venus and Serena's father in the movie King Richard. The name Venus is connected to the beast from the sea, Venus is also the morning star, another name for Lucifer, the light bearer, who is called the son of the morning in Isaiah 14:12, which declares, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" The name Serena means clear and bright, which is also a reference to Lucifer, the light bearer, the son of the morning as well. After the slap, Will was given the Oscar for Best Actor for the movie King Richard, and during his speech, he mentioned this was not about winning an award for him, but instead, it was about being able to shine light on all the people.
I'm not crying for winning an award. It's not about winning an award for me. It's about being able to shine light on all of the people.
The mention of shining light on all the people was also a reference to Lucifer, the light bearer. Not only that, but this also connects back to the words bright light being used recently to describe the victims of satanic sacrifice rituals like Regina King's son.
The family saying in a statement that Ian was a bright light.
Miss USA, Chesley Chris, who fell to her death from the Orion building as a representation of Lucifer falling from heaven, was also described as a bright light.
Such an incredibly radiant light Chesley Chris was.
And Amir Locke's father also said that his son was a bright light as well.
Amir was a bright light.
Being able to shine light on all of the people.
The name King Richard is a reference to a king and connects Will Smith with royalty in the corona or crown. Notice Chris Rock actually calls Will Smith Richard, a reference to King Richard as he approaches him on stage.
Richard!
The name King Richard was also a reference to an actual historical figure, King Richard I, the Lionheart. This connects back to Obama as the Lion King.
I'm releasing my official birth video, but let's take a look.
King Richard actually rebelled against his father's rule, and he also led the Third Crusade of the Holy Land of Israel. This connects him with the rebellious king of the bottomless pit and the Antichrist, who will set up his tents in the Holy Land as well, as found in Daniel 11:45, which declares, "And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him." Now, on to Chris Rock, who is meant to symbolize Christ, who is described as the rock in the scriptures. Psalm 62:6 declares, "He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved." 1 Corinthians 10:4 declares, "And did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ." Also, after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, Chris did not retaliate.
Oh, wow! Wow!
This is a reference to Matthew 5:39, which declares, But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. This is not the first time we have seen two actors be used to symbolize a fight between Christ and the devil. We saw this done previously in the orchestrated fight between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Tyrese.
What's going on, y'all? This is Ludacris. We on the set of Fast 6. Tyrese been talking a lot of mess to The Rock, and right now I'm sneaking up on him. I see him talking over their footage. Let's see what happens.
In this situation, The Rock represents Christ, and Tyrese represented the king of Tyre, who is conflated with Lucifer in Ezekiel 28:11-19. We also saw a similar scenario in the beef between Meek Mill and Drake. Meek was meant to represent those who inherit the earth, as found in Matthew 5:5, and Drake represented the dragon, that old serpent, the devil, and Satan. The Oscar is given to the winners at the Academy Awards. This brings us back to the pyramids that were on stage, which point to the doorway or portal, and the all-seeing eye of Lucifer peering through that doorway from another plane of existence. The Oscar, which is a golden statue, is nothing more than a false idol, which represents the false god. Therefore, the Oscar standing inside of the pyramid or doorway represents the false god coming through the doorway or portal from the spiritual world, ascending from the bottomless pit to possess the physical human body of the Antichrist, the son of perdition. Confirmation of this can be found 17:8, which declares, "The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is." The name Oscar comes from the word Osgar, meaning God's spear, from Gar, which means spear, plus Oz, which means God. The term God's spear is a reference to the phallic symbol, the Egyptian obelisk, or Baal shaft. In the previous video, we spoke about Liber Oz and the setting free and releasing of the king of the bottomless pit. Interestingly enough, in the movie Men in Black 2, which starred Will Smith, there was a scene that mentioned Satan escaping from hell. This points to the false god passing through the doorway from the spiritual world into the physical. When we discussed Liber Oz, I told you that Oz is made up of the Hebrew Ayin and Zayin. Ayin represents the eye and is connected to the fall, the Gnostic serpent, and the sinful knowledge that he offered to Eve in Genesis 3, verses 4-5. Interestingly enough, Will's wife, Jada, was part of a band called Wicked Wisdom. Notice they are all throwing up the devil horns hand sign, and their album cover features a red serpent, which represents the devil as well. This connects Jada to the Gnostic serpent in the sinful knowledge or wicked wisdom offered by the devil. As a side note, the movie Coda, which was about a deaf family in sign language, won Best Picture. Here, you see the cast members throwing up the so-called I love you hand sign, which is the same as the devil hand sign. This hand sign was supposedly invented by Helen Keller. However, what most people do not know is that Helen Keller was an occultist who practiced theosophy. In her book, Light in My Darkness, she credited the teachings of a man named Emanuel Swedenborg as being her light and staff that guided her. Swedenborg referred to himself as an initialis, which in Greek is mystikos, meaning an initiate. This lets us know that he was an initiate into the ancient wisdom and secret doctrine of occultism. It is noted that Emanuel Swedenborg pulled so-called Christianity into a more mystical or occult direction. In fact, the Theosophical Society, which was founded by Satan-worshipping Luciferian Madame Blavatsky, states the following: the modern revival of esotericism extends from romantic natural philosophy to 19th century occultism involving Swedenborgianism, mesmerism, spiritualism, the ancient wisdom tradition, and ceremonial magic in paramasonic orders. It is clear then that the design of this hand sign by Helen Keller, who was initiated into occult theosophy through the teachings of her mentor Emanuel Swedenborg, is actually just a modified version of the devil hand sign, which says, I love you, Satan. The name Oscar is the name Isir, the collective name for the chief gods of pagan Norse mythology from the Vikings. This word comes from Old Norse, Ansu, which means spirit. As we discussed earlier, spirit literally means breath, to breathe or blow air. Therefore, the Oscar points to the Viking, sixth king or sixth god, the prince of the power of the air, Satan himself. Remember, Zayn represents the crown, and this entire fight centered around Will's wife, Jada, who has shaved her head or crown. Jada's shaved head connects back to the passing of the Crown Act on March 18th, which gives us the number 666, as well as Obama's announcement that he had coronavirus on March 13th, which points to rebellion. It is thought that temple prostitutes, or more likely women who were adulterers, would shave their crown for Ishtar or Inanna, the queen of heaven, the virgin whore of Babylon and consort of Tammuz. We know that Will's wife, Jada, is an adulterer, as she admitted to having an affair with a man named August, whom she met 4 years prior.
Jada sat down with Will to explain how she met August 4.5 years ago. But
the name of the man she had an affair with, August, who she met 4 years prior, was orchestrated purposefully as well, as it was meant, once again, to point to Barack Obama, who was born on August 4th. In closing, it is clear that this entire charade is nothing more than a sick and twisted, snarled and entwined mess of satanic rituals, which are all meant to exalt the devil, the prince of the power of the air, and his antichrist, Barack Obama. These children of disobedience are filled with the spirit of rebellion, and therefore they carry out these rituals in anticipation of the setting free of the king of the bottomless pit, in the time when he will indwell the human body of the Antichrist. Soon, the entire world will bear witness to the truth of Barack Obama's identity as the false Messiah, and those who are not covered in the blood of the Lamb will believe the lie that he is Messiah. If you have not given your life to the Most High by accepting the blood sacrifice of the Paschal Lamb, Yahushua HaMashiach, which was shed on the cross as a propitiation for the redemption of sins, the time to do so is now. Amen. Shalom.